Shabbat Shalom. So if you have been paying attention at all to, pretty much any media source, you will know that there is a new film adaptation of Homer's epic, The Odyssey. Yes, I'm not giving you any brand new news here, right? You've all paying attention to this. Tell me a little bit about The Odyssey. Come on, go back to high school English class. What's The Odyssey? What is it about? The traveling back to home, right? The travel of Odysseus, from which the word Odyssey comes, is traveling home after the Trojan War. Well, this should be a simple thing. After all, Troy and Greece are not that far apart. Of course, it ends up taking him many, many, many years. And what is the point of this telling? That is to say, why did the Greeks continue telling the story over and over and over? No idea. Because it's entertaining. For us, it is entertaining. Nobody is planning to go see Nolan's new adaptation of The Odyssey and learn how to live a noble and good life. I can't say nobody because, I have to be a stickler and pedantic. Maybe 3 or 4 people will go there and walk out and say, I will live by the truths that have been portrayed in this film. But by and large, most people, for the last 1,000 years at least, when they open up the Odyssey and they look through its pages and they recite its epic poems and they go through the different stories and challenges that Odysseus and his men faced, they are not looking for clues of how to live. They are looking for a good story. They are looking for something that will be entertaining, that will be exciting, that will be dramatic. Because if they were looking for life lessons, and you can remember back to your high school English classes, well, the life lessons may not be the lessons we exactly want people to take from that. If you listen to the Odyssey as an ancient Greek would have listened to the Odyssey, not as merely a collection of entertaining stories, but as a handbook, a Torah, if I will, of how to live, well, some of those virtues we would not consider so virtuous. So the hospitality, which is a primary concept within the Odyssey at each and every stage where they go, and how Odysseus is greeted or not greeted so well in different locales, as well as what happens in his home in Ithaca as his wife Penelope is trying to handle all of the suitors in that conflict. Yes, the hospitality issues are things that I think we could probably get behind. Hachnasat orchim, the greeting of those that are guests, is a big virtue within Judaism. On that, the Greeks and us, we would agree. The fickleness of the gods. Not exactly of an idea that we would be in line with. After all, when we are saying that one should be devoted to Adonai, we are not saying that because we believe God to be capricious. But in the Odyssey, well, the reason that Odysseus is off and running for so long is primarily because he has not done right by some of the gods, in particular Poseidon, but he has a way of running afoul of many of them except for Athena. So that capriciousness, that pettiness, that vindictiveness that we see throughout the Odyssey is not considered to be a flaw among the gods. It is considered to be a warning to humans, that that's just what gods are like. You could do something wonderful and then you make one little mistake, poking out the eye of one of their favorite sons, the Cyclops, and all of a sudden it's a decade before you can get home. But of course that son was going to eat him, so what was he supposed to do? It doesn't matter. Poseidon's angry. You should expect bad things. That gods are inherently unpredictable, temperamental, and to be appeased at all costs because you never know. This was a truth to the ancient Greeks and not a truth that we believe. God is a God, as we saw within the own Torah readings today, a God of justice, a God of equality and fairness. God is not a God that picks and chooses when to throw a tantrum that is going to doom a man on his journey back to his home. But more importantly, the virtues that are extolled throughout the Odyssey are those of a form of militant heroism, of glory, almost above all things. Although in some ways the Odyssey does subvert those themes from the Iliad, the other great epic poem, and other Greek tales where glory indeed is above all virtues, at least the Odyssey does extol the virtues of home as well, somewhat in a balancing form. Although, of course, Odysseus comes off as being this wonderful, heroic figure by the end of it. But as I said at the beginning, most people don't read the Odyssey looking for these virtues and these guidelines. They don't read it to memorize its various poetic forms as a way of reminding themselves through its verses how to behave day to day. They read it or watch a film because it is a spectacle, because it does have exciting stories and amazing escapes and wonderful adventure, and we are a sucker for a good story, even if we forget the purpose of that story itself. You might be getting a whiff of where I'm going with this. Do we not have the same danger when it comes to the Torah and the Tanakh and the rest of Judaism? Do we not have the same danger of reducing what has been given to us through revelation as a guide for the virtues and values by which we would live our life, a collection of words that we should take to heart, not because they are titillating or exciting or adventurous, although there is plenty of that in there, as we saw in the review that Moses gave in this parasha, but because the review of those adventures teaches us how to live today. But too often, if we read the Tanakh at all, we read it as we would a novel. We read it as we would literature. And while it has literary style and form that is sublime and wonderfully intricate and also sometimes difficult to penetrate because it comes from a different classical tradition than most of us are familiar with, that does not mean that is how we should read it or the only way we should read it. When we read the Torah, we are not merely fulfilling a duty, nor are we merely reading text. We are looking into the Torah for guidance. We should approach it with a different seriousness, a different passion than we would approach reading the Odyssey or any other novel, no matter what its greatness on the hierarchy of world literature, nor how excited it makes us feel. The Torah is more than a book, as I said at the beginning of our Torah study. God did not give us the Torah to entertain us. God did not give us the Torah simply to anchor us within a historical heritage that we could wave our happy hands at in celebrating the long lineage of Jewish culture. It does entertain, and it is an anchoring point within Jewish culture stretching back thousands of years. But that is not its purpose. Its purpose is to teach. Its purpose is to guide. Its purpose is to tell us, this is how you get home. And you can get home without all of the adventure and drama that Odysseus goes through if you actually follow the proper map, if you follow the proper instruction. Torah. The Torah was given so that we would be able to navigate this world with more surety and less excitement and danger. But too often, even those of you who have already made it a cut above many others by coming to hear the Torah being read, hear the Torah be read, but don't take it to heart as being a specific calling to you outside of this room. So that is your challenge. Not to see the Odyssey, whether you want to or not, that's up to you. Your challenge is to see in the Torah your map, to see in the Torah your guide, to see in the Torah your manual, and to realize that it is there to help you, not to burden you with mitzvot, but to liberate you through the commandments, allowing you to know how to live in this world that sometimes feels chaotic. Not there to dull your pleasures, but to enrich them through blessing and through sanctification, that they may rise above mere animalistic acts. The Torah creates the world, creates the narrative of our life that is higher and more beautiful than anything else we can appreciate, if we will treat it as more than just a big book. Shabbat Shalom.